Yeah, sure, that's fine. What's happening, boys and ghouls? This is a special Halloween spooktacular coming at you from FutureSounds FM. In the absence of Enzo, you've got me, Thom, aka the Wicked Wichita LimeWire, hosting today's show. We've got two guests for you today. First up, we've got Eventual Infinity, Payden. Payden hails from the west coast of the US, the land of Twin Peaks, Washington State.
Yep. Hey, everyone. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. Cool. And we've got Winterquilt from spooky Liverpool.
Hello, everyone. He's all right.
How's everybody doing? So, Chris, how's it going?
So, mate, tiring weekend. As I was saying to you before, haven't slept a wink in days, so don't know what that's all about, but all good, can't complain.
Well, it's spooky season, isn't it? You know, it's hard to sleep.
I know. It's Goth's Christmas, as I like to call it.
That's good. That's good.
So have you got a quieter week ahead? Like, is it more quiet or
nah,
less quiet with the kids off school?
Yeah, so it's actually better for me in a way because I live in the north end of the city and I work in the city centre. So now my car died the other day for a start. So now I've got like a massive walk that is essentially the kids' school run. I've got to drop one kid off of fucking his nan's, and we've got to get the other two kids to breakfast club in school before 8, and then I've got to get to the train station, which is a 25-minute walk to get to work. So yeah, the fact that they're off means that I don't have to do all that. I can just go straight to work, and the nan will come round here. So it's better for me, to be fair.
So you've been an early riser recently, have you?
Yeah, well, I am anyway, luckily, because I've got to be. At the minute, it's ruthless. We've got a ruthless schedule. So you'll have all this when yours get a bit older. All the school runs, brutal, mate.
Yeah, for sure. You've worked jobs in the past with erratic hours, right?
Yeah, most of them. Yeah, taxi driver.
So you're used to being up at the witching hours.
Yeah. I grab sleep when I can. It's rarely available.
Cool. But maybe that comes out in your music. So yeah, and what about you, Payden? What's your news?
Well, with spooky season, every year I try to convince my my partner that we need to get some skeletons for our balcony. But the big argument usually is where to put them when we're done. Like, what do we do after spooky season's over? We just can't leave them out there. Like our homeowners association would probably get upset. So that's usually what we always arrive at. It's like, what are we going to do with all this crap? So I think they could just go in the guest bedroom and just go in the guest bed and just
definitely
tuck them in.
Bury them.
You're supposed to put the
September.
Skeletons are supposed to go in the closet, aren't
exactly,
they?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I got skeletons in the closet. So
I like the idea of
figure that out.
I like the idea of you tucking them up into the guest bedroom and then not telling if you have someone to come and stay, just don't tell them about the skeletons. Just show them to the room.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's Stephen and Louise. You just got to push them over. They'll make room for you.
Hey, Payden, do you ever see? I always see people on Twitter posting pictures of these huge 15-foot skeletons that seem to be available in supermarkets in America. Is that a thing?
Yeah. So we were just in San Francisco a few weeks ago, and we saw one of those in this house, in front of this house. It's like a 15 or 20 foot tall skeleton. And it had this huge sign on it that said, "Be nice, you'll sleep better." And I was just like, oh shit. All right. It's kind of ominous positivity coming from the giant skeleton over there.
Yeah. You need to get one of them. I'm dead jealous. I think I've seen Alpha Chrome Yayo talk about how he's gutted they don't sell them over the years, looked and stuff, but seems to be an American thing. You love everything larger in life, don't you? So
yeah, including the skeletons. Yep.
What about you, Jay? You've got the most exciting news out of all of us. There's been a new arrival into the world.
Yes, Jay.
Yeah, man. So had me and Kira had our second child. He turned 3 weeks old today, on the day we're recording, which is a Sunday, I believe.
Nice.
Kind of lost track of time and space, to be honest with you. But no, it's been amazing. It's been tiring, but we're both absolutely buzzing, over the moon.
Boss is right, Tom.
Yeah, happy times.
Young Ted.
How many kids have we got between us all now? It's sort of 6 kids, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's
6,
right.
yeah.
3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yeah. Payton's lacking. You need to get going,
Yeah.
Payton.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy being Uncle Payton right now.
Hey, do you know what, mate? I always say this, like, as much as it's amazing to have kids, if you're the kind of person that doesn't want kids, that's the actual, like, dream. That if you know you don't want kids and you don't have kids, that's the life. Like, so I always knew I wanted kids, so it would have been disappointing if it didn't. But if you know you don't want them, that's a life, that, mate. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Being uncle's the best, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Just have fun, teach them some new dirty jokes, and then I just leave.
Yeah. Get them pissed when
chaos
they're 14.
merchant.
But congrats, Jay. That's awesome.
Yeah, made up for you, Jay.
Thanks, guys.
I felt like such a tit when I was like hounding him constantly about the album, and he's like, his bird's about to pop any minute, like. But I'm glad he's fine.
That's okay. I mean, I didn't really. I've got to be honest. I didn't really put that much work into the actual, growing up a baby. So I'm not going to take too much credit.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. He's finally here because Baby's sort of loomed large over the last few episodes of the podcast, right? We've been sort of, if you listen back to previous shows, you can probably sort of, document his. We kind of documented his impending arrival, didn't we? 'Cause,
Yeah.
Could have arrived at any time, and I know you were a little bit sort of worried during first leg of this America trip that he might arrive, and the second leg, you didn't go on because you were fairly sure that he was going to arrive early.
He seemed to be suggesting that it was time, and then actually was like, "Oh no, not quite ready yet."
Mm-hmm. Got cold feet.
Yeah, and then actually ended up coming a week late. I think a week or just like a bit over a week late. So, but he's here now. He's
healthy and well, right?
He's happy. He's healthy. He's awesome. I'm happy. Kira's happy. Ollie's happy.
Lovely.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
I was the existing child with him. Is he just made up, like, or is there an element of like jealousy? Because I've seen that a few times myself personally, where like the older sibling tries to kill the baby on the regular.
No, we haven't had any of that stuff. I mean, Ollie's like just buzzing to be an older brother. As soon from the moment we told him, he was like super excited. So
amazing. How old's Ollie?
He's just turned 4.
Okay, perfect.
Literally.
Okay, yeah. That's a boss age gap. That 1 and 4.
Yeah. I think he's like old enough to understand that he needs to help look after him, and also to understand like that he's not going to be able to like play Mario Kart figures and stuff. Yeah.
That takes a while, right?
Yeah.
Give it a few months.
Yeah, exactly. Give him a chance, like. Awesome. Good to be here, mate. I'm really happy for you.
Oh, thanks, guys. Means a lot.
That's lovely. I don't have any news as exciting as that. Like my baby's old news now. The most exciting thing that I've got, that's new and noteworthy is I kind of stirred the pot a little bit, the sort of social media pot a little bit, because Enzo asked me to write a few words about the kind of the state of vaporwave, and I kind of waded in a little bit on some of these kind of debates about corporate vaporwave and sampling and vaporwave sellouts and blah blah blah. Potentially a little bit hackneyed, but it was fun to sort of come out of my writing retirement, because I used to do a bunch more, and we've had some kind of interesting reactions from the usual suspects, and from some other people who've kind of engaged with this essay. So yeah, essay's very grand. It's kind of a long blog post or a short essay, but yeah, if you're interested in reading, it's all over the FutureSounds Twitter account, and if you go to the FutureSounds website as well, you can read it as well. Just it's always interesting to engage with people, and yeah, one of my conclusions really is like the fact that people have these debates and discussions is probably evidence enough that vaporwave still exists, right? Like it's we're not barking at the moon with these conversations, right? Like we're getting some sort of lively responses, which I think is healthy.
Yeah,
It's
a good read.
I'm really looking forward to reading that, to be honest.
So it's a bit bloody long.
What is a vaporwave sellout? Because like of all the things with vaporwave I see used the most in like kind of the commercial setting, it's the aesthetic, like the visual aspect of it. You see a lot of that with like stage design and like mainstream rappers and pop stars are using
Glass Animals. Glass Animals really copped it, didn't they? Apparently, I think it was Little Mix, who are like a sort of UK girl band. My friend was sending me Instagram stories from their show, and they're just like, they're like basically the UK Pussycat Dolls, and like their stage background was like kind of pure Windows XP kind of
it was like,
software gore.
Yeah, it was like glitchy.
What the fuck's that got to do with anything?
Yeah.
Were you at the show, Jay?
No. You sent me the thing.
You're a Little Mix fan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I was just gonna say, it was like that sort of like, do you know, like, I don't know if you remember when you were. This would have been a long time ago, but if you ever used like a school computer and it was like proper slow, and then if you like moved, picked up a window and like moved it around, and it left the sort of trail of.
Oh yeah.
It tessellates, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like that kind of stuff, isn't it? I think I've seen the video that you're talking about.
I've not seen this. This is news to me, but.
It's just random clips from a Little Mix gig. I'm not surprised you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've paid, and I think you're right that like the visual aesthetic is like much easier to translate into like a mainstream or corporate space than the sonics, actually, because like vaporwave can be like quite jarring. Like there's some things that are smooth about it, but there's some things that are very jarring. Like there's not much of a vaporwave sound in the kind of musical mainstream, really.
No. I mean,
true. Like as far as I'm concerned, like the only artist who has gone like absolutely stratospheric is Daniel Lopatin, and I think actually, like, weirdly, he doesn't seem to be a name that comes up in this criticism. Like it seems to be George Clanton a lot of the time, and like, George runs like a very successful business and does very well for himself, but I doubt he's like a multi-millionaire.
No, definitely not. I know it's strange. Like I seem to I get away with murder, to be honest, within the vaporwave scene, because like my music, it's so annoying because like I get people, because I've talked about vaporwave to like friends and kind of like acquaintances for so long, the people always say like oh, I'll have to check your music out, because they like to get an idea of what vaporwave is, because I talk about being involved in this kind of vaporwave scene, and like I'm the worst person's music to listen to if you want to know what vaporwave sounds like, you know what I mean? But I don't seem to get that much heat for it, even though there's blast beats all over me music, whereas you guys play a bit of guitar live and it's like a problem, you know what I mean? But I think like
it's funny what people take against, isn't it?
Yeah, but like the vaporwave scene for me was just like a really interesting, innovative space, and within that there's so many different interpretations, and I've never really, obviously there's like classic vaporwave and vaporwave subgenres, but I've always just seen it as a space, a creative musical space where like people interact and stuff.
I reckon that's a newer thing, isn't it? I think that's what some of these more disparaging voices are taking against, which is that like the kind of original vaporwave sound is now like a subgenre of like a much broader umbrella genre. I think that's what they're lamenting, right? They want that to be vaporwave, full stop. They don't like vaporwave being like a general term that encompasses a very wide range of things. But you can't put it back, right?
Yeah, like it's happened so fast. Like with a genre like metal, there was a very like particular sound that was like heavy metal for quite a long time. And if you showed someone from like the origin days of metal, like someone who was into Black Sabbath and like Led Zeppelin, and you showed them gore grind now, they wouldn't think they'd say that isn't metal. I don't even know what that is. It's not even music. But like with vaporwave, that process happened in like 4 years. So everyone's flipping out in real time. But in reality, it's just subgenres and umbrella charts of different interpretations, and it's become like just an experimental
the change in metals like happened over a longer period of time,
exactly,
right? I'm an outsider, but it's like to my ears, it's like the like kind of bluesy sound has got less and less, and maybe coming back in now, but like that seems to be the big change, right? Like you don't get these kind of bluesy, like you listen to Black Sabbath, right? And like Bill Ward was like a big band drummer, right? Like he's swinging.
Yeah, exactly. And like as you say, it's happened so slowly and so gradually that it's like been accepted that there's all these like subgenres. But yeah, like vaporwave, it's all happened in the course of it's accelerated by the internet and like just the way things work these days, and it's a strange thing to be a part of. Like
that's kind of the reason why we thought it'd be fun to put you guys on the pods together, right? Because you both kind of associated with the vaporwave scene, despite making very sort of genre divergent and genre diverse music. And you've both got 2 records coming out very, very soon. Depending on when we put out this pods, like the records might just have come out. So hopefully there'll still be a copy or 2 left to pick up if you're hearing about these artists for the first time and you want to pick up a record. So Payton, Eventual Infinity, you've got a record called Deep Cover coming out on TimeSlave, which is normally a kind of synthwave imprint, and that's coming out on the 28th of October, right?
Yeah, and when I was originally thinking kind of what to do with this album, it's kind of hard to place it because it does cover so many genres. But the one thing that's really consistent throughout is it is so synth heavy. Anybody who knows like my style and sound design, I mean, I spend most of my time on YouTube or when I'm watching YouTube, like watching synth videos and like trying to find new sounds. I'm like constantly chasing sound. And
what tutorial videos or like or like demos or
different demos, different I really love like Heinbach and all these YouTube personalities that find just all these strange synthesizers, and I love like Geosynths. I think he's based in the UK. He is a fantastic sound designer, and he does like I think it's either weekly or bi-weekly. He does like a podcast, and he has different guests from just the synth community. He just interviewed Marcus Ryle, who was involved in the new Oberheim synth, the OBX8. Yeah, and so I just love synthesizers. So a lot of like the tracks evolve kind of like synthwave. They're very cinematic, even though it expands tons of different genres like footwork, trap, drum and bass. There's some ambient, dream punk, all sorts of different stuff. So that's, why I decided to take a shot and reach out to you, Jay, and kind of see what you thought. And we kind of had a hard time placing it at first. We were talking back and forth quite a bit about where it should go. Yeah. And, but it makes the most sense on TimeSlave because of that kind of like synthy influence throughout the album.
It makes sense to me. Like I think if to go on My Pet Flamingo, what you should have done is to just sample those synth demonstration videos. Right? Don't have to go out and actually don't go and buy the equipment. Just like what they called all presets, no talking. Those videos, sample some of those.
Yeah, exactly.
We Jay, we did that a bunch on Miracle Lounge on our first album. Actually, the first song we made is called Dimensions, and like all the sounds come from like a really boring tutorial of like the Boss Dimension chorus pedal. Like all the loops, all the sounds and stuff. All come from that.
That's great.
That's funny.
But yeah, Payton, I'm so glad that you put more effort in than that, because like it sounds like you've done a shitload of research. You've bought some beautiful instruments. You've learned how to work these beautiful instruments, and then you've used them in a very sort of composerly, cinematic manner to like put together this piece of work that it's just got very sort of strong logical threads through it, and it has like just incredible dynamics, like both in terms of volume and stuff, but just like also in terms of the frequency content, like it's got really powerful, impactful bass and just like really bright and in your face kind of modern highs and stuff as well. Like it's just really full frequency. It's really impactful. And it feels like a cinematic experience rather than just like an oral one. So it's a dead impressive piece of work. You should be very pleased with yourself.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. I mean, it did take a lot of time trying to figure out how to work in these different synths. And some, I call them kind of like my ghosts, because there's a lot of synthesizers that I don't have anymore that are recorded and used in this album too. And it's always weird kind of looking through the files and it's like, oh, I haven't had a Prophet 6 in like 2 years now. Like, where did I get this sound from? And, thinking back, it's tons of different sound design experiments and like some of it, like I had a Moog Matriarch, which I just sold, and I had it for a good 2 years, and there's a lot of Matriarch in this album. And that was just such a fun synth to sit in front of because it has these patch points, it's semi-modular, and you can just like get lost in it. And that's what I would love. It's like if I'm stuck on a song, I would sit in front of the Matriarch and just noodle on it and just mess with all the different knobs and try and figure out what sounds could work in it. And in one of the songs, Final Heaven, there's just this kind of like searing lead sound about halfway through, and that is all Matriarch.
Super saw.
It's like 3 or 4 different takes of that Matriarch, and I'm just messing with like the LFO and just winding all sorts of crazy stuff up. And that's why like synthesizers over, I use tons of plugins, of course, but it's like when I'm stuck on a song or I'm trying to come up with ideas, I just sit in front of a synth and just go crazy until I come up with something really cool and then just push record and have fun. So, yeah, thank you.
That sounds like you've got a really healthy relationship with gear, because like obviously like gear can be like such a trap. Like I know this thing GAS, right? Gear acquisition syndrome, which I think the Steely Dan boys coined. I think that's their phrase. Like it doesn't sound like you've fallen into the trap of just like accumulating expensive stuff and then not using it, or just like posting pictures on Reddit of your like lovely collection. Like I think the fact that you buy this stuff, learn how to use it, sell it, it's healthy, and it's actually healthier than people who hoard expensive plugins as well.
Oh yeah, that's an easy trap to get into with plugins, because I mean it's all consumerism at its core. And if you get kind of stuck in those traps, it can be kind of dangerous, because it's easy to buy stuff. Like if you have money or you have credit, you can just buy stuff and it gives you a dopamine hit. Whereas like sitting down and practicing and learning takes time and effort. So I do burn through a lot of gear, but I'm finally at a place where I feel like I just have a few kind of hardware synthesizers and then I use plugins. It's nice to have the gear when it's a self-contained instrument that's beautiful and inspiring and it's fun to just sit in front of and play. But there's so many, like the algorithms and the sound quality of plugins, it's just gotten so good, especially in like the last few years. It's just insanity. So I mean, when you look at companies like Roland, Roland isn't really releasing any analog synthesizers. Like most of them are kind of, they call them plug out or VST kind of in a box, or, virtual analog type stuff. And a lot of companies are kind of moving past this analog resurgence already, which is funny. It's like the snake has already eaten its tail, and now we're going into more FM and wavetable and virtual analog stuff again. It's just funny how it all kind of cycles, and it's all trendy, and it's it's all fashion.
We sort of spoke briefly like before recording about this. Like Matt Healy from the 1975 has been saying some sort of very boring things about plugins, and saying like, speaking from a position of immense privilege, being like, oh, you shouldn't use plugins, they don't have this warm sound, blah blah blah, like you need to buy like beautiful vintage instruments. And then he talks about JV 1080, doesn't he, which is like a fucking rompler. Like, it's such a crazy thing that people are like vaporwave people fetishize those sounds, but like I think a little bit ironically, right?
Yeah,
he doesn't seem to possess irony that much.
That's like there was somebody else who said it's like everybody needs a 303, and not like a clone. You need the real deal. You need the real thing. And it's like, why?
I think it was Fatboy Slim who said that recently.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Fatboy Slim song, isn't it? But I think he's spoken that the clones are the same.
It's just absurd. It's like whatever is inspiring and whatever helps you make music. It really doesn't matter. Anything outside of that, it just doesn't matter. Yeah, it's like people who are all in on plugins and say like hardware doesn't matter at all. They're missing the fact that it's like hardware, you have a self-contained instrument that you don't need to update, you have forever, and it's, well, as long as you can pay for the repairs and stuff down the road. But like you have a self-contained instrument that's fun to just sit in front of and play. But what the people that are all in on hardware miss about the plugin people is that they don't care about that. They just see these tools as like a means to the end, and they'd rather just sit in front of their computer and be in the zone and just click through and do all the automation with mouse clicks, and they have a good workflow figured out. So it's just kind of funny that they're both kind of missing the point when they butt heads and argue. It's like, whatever helps you make music, it really doesn't matter.
This is the thing, and this is like looping back to what to Tom's article you wrote about this is not vaporwave and that kind of thing. Like, just let people fucking make music and have fun. That's like, do you know what I mean? Like, why is it got to be like a constant sort of this is how you do it and this is how you need to do this thing? It's like, my process of making music would be massively different to someone else's, and that's fine and that's great, and we're both going to come up with completely different things. Like, why can't we just enjoy that and you know, support each other to do it, like to make even more things that are great and better.
It's the creation of the music that's like the point. And like in my experience, a lot of people who like focus too much on the gear are the ones that don't tend to make as much music, because they're waiting for these next few steps in their setup before they're ready to start making music. Just use what you've got.
You're never ready.
And make music, and then as time goes on, build up your collection by all means. But like, it's not about the gear, it's about the creation of music. You know what I mean? You can get like option paralysis with gear, and whether it be like software or hardware, just use stock plugins. You know what I mean? Like, just make some fucking music.
Yeah, like my first Kid Neon album I made in 2017, I didn't even have monitor speakers. That was just headphones and Logic, and I was just using the like stock Logic plugins, which I don't know. 2017 probably would have been Logic 9, maybe. I don't know when Logic 10 came out.
That's what Brian Eno uses still, right?
Logic stock plugins are naughty.
Wicked.
Yeah, you don't need anything else
great.
with Logic. Like, I have all the DAWs I've played with. Like, I feel like the Logic stock plugins are outstanding.
Yeah.
Clunky transition, but you
sure.
mentioned Final Heaven. I think we should play that. I think Final Heaven is like a really good sort of summation of the record as a whole. I suspect that might have been why you chose to play it.
Yeah, it was one that it's such a weird combination of styles, and it fits kind of with my back catalog, but also kind of pushing my sound forward too. So I chose it just because it's one of those tracks that just evolved and changed over time as I worked on it. It started as just like a sound design experiment. I was actually listening to a lot of Sophie, and you know, just such an iconic, unforgettable sound. You listen to Sophie and it's just like, yeah, that's Sophie. So I was just I was messing around with some of those concepts. And usually when I do that, I just start going off on some tangent. And that's exactly what happened with this track. So it took a lot of inspiration from, you know, footwork, trap, hardstyle.
There's some Gabba.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I said hardstyle. Definitely hardstyle.
Yeah, just that pounding kick and, you know, super saw. So there's like some trance influence in there, which I grew up listening to a lot of trance in high school, and like techno and a lot of rave music and stuff. So it's kind of just a combination of all the things I love in electronic music into this weird morphing. It has this kind of like everything's blend, like especially if you listen to it on headphones or really nice speakers or something, it's all just kind of like swirling and morphing into each other. And I made the transitions almost like mutate and stuff like that. And a lot of it is I use the UDO Super 6, which is one of my favorite synths, and also a lot of Matriarch in this one. And those synths, they have like this panel that's very easy, a lot of sliders and knobs, and it's all, knob per function. So you can very easily morph the sound, and it does all these really interesting changes into each section.
Wicked. Let's play it. Cool. How we doing on the coughs, boys?
I'm
good now.
Yeah,
I've been holding them in.
me.
Wicked. I'm gonna cue us back in. All right.
Okay.
So,
All right.
that was Final Heaven from the Eventual Infinity album Deep Cover, which is out on the 20th of October on TimeSlave Recordings. It's amazing piece of work, Peyton. Amazing piece of work.
Thank you.
I listened to the record a few times, and like to my ears, like it's got like a like really impactful, really big middle section, of which sort of Final Heaven is kind of the centerpiece, and then around it there's some kind of more kind of subtle and immersive and even sort of ambient stuff, like just some things I wanted to pick out. Like I was really fascinated by the sort of female voice that kind of permeates a few tracks of the records, like it gives me sort of Tyrell Corporation Blade Runner vibes. Like I'd be interested to hear like if there's a story, like whose voice it is, like what's going on there.
Yeah, so this is with Eventual Infinity. I'm kind of a sneaky sampler, and sometimes I'll beat the listener over the head with samples and stuff like that. So some of those, especially like the guided meditation stuff. If you listen to my discography, there's always some meditation sample or something in it, because I do a lot of mindfulness, and it's a big part of my life. So sometimes I'll be listening to these guided meditations and stuff, and it just like it sticks with me, and I really enjoy incorporating that stuff into my music, because it does add to the hypnotic, immersive effect of the music. But you also hit it right on the head. So a lot of the themes or the kind of the theme of this album, it's very sci-fi, cinematic, a lot of dream punk, cyberpunk type themes and stuff like that throughout it. But one track in particular that is original vocals. Well, actually, I should say I used some of my voice in some of it. So I did use some of, like I would make sounds with my mouth, either drum or like percussion stuff that it's buried in with the percussion. Also breathing and different sound effects and stuff like that. But the other original vocals in there are in the last track, which is an incredible ending to the album with Data Girl. So
yeah, it's unbelievable, Matt Payton.
And she's singing the Dies Irae, isn't she?
Yes. Yep. So we had
very spooky Halloween.
Yeah. We had talked about it forever ago, it seemed like. And we were always just like, yeah, we'll work together. We actually met each other at the Electronicon 2 tape swap, where we both kind of had our live premiere in the Vaporwave community. But we had just, talked online and stuff, and it's like, oh, we want to do something together. And it was actually a YouTube video talking about Dies Irae, how it's found everywhere in movies, TV. Anytime something bad is happening, it's almost always copying the Dies Irae. So
yeah, it's like a cliched motif, isn't it? Like it's like a shorthand for kind of doom or whatever.
Yeah, so we tried to, I sent her the track, and then she sent me back the vocals and some other synth parts, and she added some intense drumming and stuff like that, and it completely changed the tone of the track. I thought it was going to be just
so the drums are Data Girl, are they?
Yeah, so the
I thought it was Hans Zimmer.
Right, the really cinematic like that stuff that's all her. And
wow, big up Data Girl.
So when she sent me that, it was just like, okay, this track has to be bigger. I was thinking it was just going to be some kind of like ambient interlude type track. But then I said, you know what, this has got to be kind of like the crown jewel. This has to be like the epic crescendo conclusion to the album. So I added more to the end, and then sampled her vocals a little bit, added more parts to the end to really make it this ending, kind of epic ending to the album, and it ended up working perfectly. So I was very thankful to be able to work with her, and she's awesome to work with. So it was really cool.
So Jay and I worked with her, and did something like weirdly similar, actually. Like Jay, is Spirit Receiver the final track on Midnight Store? I can't even remember, but it's certainly like it's kind of when things start to go a bit wrong. But yeah, she sent us some vocals that do something kind of similarly. I don't know, spiritual or ominous. She's singing, what she's saying, receive my soul just over and over and over again. It's got this kind of hymnal thing, which I think makes sense, right? Because her background's in choral music, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she, the whole like Heaven Cry thing that she was playing around with reflects that as well. Like it's clearly like a big part of her personality and her musical sound is this like her kind of relationship with church music and choral music. So it's really, really cool to hear that. Yeah, I didn't know for sure that it was Data Girl, but I had like a sneaking suspicion. I'm very glad to have it confirmed.
Oh yeah, it's for sure her. And she just added so much that's what I love about collaborating with people. And when I'm doing remixes for people or working on a project with someone, it's like all of a sudden shit gets real. And it's like, okay, I want to like push this track even further. And it's like when someone else's name is on it as well, I just want to do the best I can absolutely do to, because it's not just my name at that point, it's someone else's. So I want to, help elevate them as well. So
take it to the next level.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It forces you to raise your game, doesn't it? Like if you're playing with somebody nuts on your sports team, right? Like they're insanely good, right? You want to elevate your game to not make a fool of yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We should switch to chatting about Chris's Winterquilt record in a second, but yeah, just like one final thing I wanted to say about Deep Cover is, like, I heard kind of two things kind of pricked my ears up, like that are kind of relevant to Chris's record and just relevant to what we talk about on this podcast. Like definitely heard like a big influence from sort of video game music, and in particular this kind of like rapid sort of jungle programmed drum and bass kind of thing, which is kind of something we discussed in great length when we had Pizza Hotline on our show. Like is that something conscious? Like is it sort of slightly Anglophile thing, like listening to jungle and drum and bass, or does it all come from video games? Like what's the kind of source of that?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to just my musical upbringing within the rave community. I've always loved jungle and drum and bass. Of course, video game music, JRPGs. I grew up playing piano, and I played a lot of video game music, was kind of how I learned. So I think there's some of that, of course. That's a big influence in my music. But also just trying to push my style outside of kind of the things I tend to gravitate towards naturally. So I've never made a drum and bass track before. I've never made a hard style track before. I've never done a chopped up like piano ambient track before. And it was like, that was what a lot of this album was experiments and trying to push my sound even further and make kind of a bigger than life, hi-fi, anxious look towards the future. So I think that all kind of fit into it. And I knew after having, a track like Final Heaven, I wanted to keep pushing and really, go at an even faster beats per minute. But then I knew at that point we're already maxed out. So that's why I did, like a very hard chop into a very slow ambient chopped up sampled
in between, right?
Yeah, just kind of, it's like whiplash. It's like you're going at the speed of light, and then all of a sudden you're weightless and you're in this kind of weird ambient state. So it's hard to say if it's any one influence. It's just kind of pushing my sound and really trying to do stuff outside of my comfort zone.
Cool. And you said footwork as well. That I hear some of that kind of crazy tempo stuff in Lightspeed, which is aptly named, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a slightly bonkers sound in that as well. I've read my notes say mad banjo sound.
Yeah. It has like a Mario Kart. It's like a Mario Kart banjo kind of arpeggiated thing.
It is. Like what's that level called? Jay, you'll know Mario Kart with all the like big cows. It's called like Moo Moo.
Absolutely.
Oh, is it
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. But I heard like there's some lightning fast beats. Is wicked. Yeah, really got my attention. And yeah, and as you say, like, just like it's kind of reached like a peak, and then the lovely kind of tape piano piece afterwards, the in between piece, which is probably like the most vaporwave moment as well, right? Like it's you hear all those tape artifacts and like mucking around with time and stuff.
Absolutely.
Really cool, really impressive.
Yeah, it's all just chop and screw piano music on that one, and then I added some other strings and little twinkles and stuff in that, but that's probably the most vaporwave track. But
yeah, it's gorgeous.
But throughout the album, there's field recordings that I've done and also samples I found kind of woven in to add to these weird kind of spaces. And when you listen to it in headphones, you can really hear these weird kind of ambient spaces. One's on Detach, that track, when it goes into the breakdown where everything kind of glitches and stuff. That's actually, it's like that ambience in the background is a Japanese airport. So it's almost like mall soft breakdown. And then it goes back into like this heavy ass, dream punk. It's a Sub-Eris inspired track. If you know Sub-Eris.
A mall soft breakdown. I love that.
Yeah, a mall soft breakdown.
That's cool. Wicked. Well, if you're not familiar with Eventual Infinity already, check out their work. Like I've been a fan for a long time. I remember finding it's called Feel, isn't it? Really early record, right? With the pink cover.
Yeah,
we chatted about it, didn't we? I think.
Yeah, and on Twitter, I remember when Donor Lens popped up, and you were coming out with Miracle Lounge, and it was just so crazy.
Yeah. With our own airport breakdown music.
Yeah,
breakdown in the airport.
Right.
Nervous breakdown in the airport.
Yeah. So it's been cool watching your project grow and grow. It's like it seems like it's exponential, with your live performances.
And it's slowed down a bit because we've been pushing out babies, but we got big things planned. Yeah. We didn't do the baby pushing.
Big things becoming.
Big things coming.
Big things coming. Yeah.
Babies and albums. But you got to check out Deep Cover out on the 28th of October on TimeSlave Records. Really, really astonishing piece of work. I think people are going to be amazed, right? Like I think the synthwave crowd's going to love it as well, because this is synth. Yeah, I think people are going to love it.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's switch to talking about Chris's records. So again, on the theme of sort of unlikely records being released on unlikely labels. This is a Halloween release. Is that right, Chris? It's literally coming out on Halloween itself.
It is. Yeah. Certainly
Wicked.
Is.
So right, let me say the title of this, because I fucking love saying it. The new Winterquilt album is called Monster Island and the Satan of Fire.
Yeah,
it's so rad. I get goosebumps saying that, man. What's the story there?
Oh, mate, it's the story starts a long time ago of this album. I'm not sure how much I've actually told you of the origins of this album. I know I've certainly alluded to the basics,
it's been a long time in the works, right?
It has,
long time.
It has. So this album was kind of demoed in 2007, which it's a funny one, because so my old project, my first project, even after having learned the guitar for a little bit of time and become competent enough to want to start writing under a moniker. My first project was called Uncle Ghost, and it was essentially me making all the music with my friend Gilly, who did all the lyrics and some of the vocals, most of the vocals, to be fair. And we formed Uncle Ghost. We made one really awful EP that ended up being the Texas Boneyard. My first kind of full album was Winterquilt, which wasn't really my first, because it was a remix of this old Uncle Ghost album from 2004, actually sampling it and turning it into kind of lo-fi house, or haunted house as I called it. So after that incarnation of Uncle Ghost, my other mate Mike, got involved, and he was like messing around with programming drums in Reason at the time. This is like 2005, 6. And like he was writing these like sick, like programming these sick like blast beat kind of drum parts. So I decided to like just like told him to send me some of these things he was coming up with, and I'd like write some riffs over it. And that like kind of a collaboration grew into Monster Island and the Satan of Fire. It was 6 tracks back in the day. It's only 5 now. I cut one of them out, but like the actual name Monster Island and the Satan of Fire came, I think it was like literally some random Japanese video game that we just really liked the name of the title. I've since Googled it recently, like, and I can't find anything about it anywhere. So I suspect, given the time that this like was all happening, I don't know, I was probably like stoned, and I've probably misnamed it. It probably wasn't even called that, because a Google search would have brought it up. You know what I mean? But like, yeah. So we demoed this album. Never got finished. Only 1 track had vocals. Like, it was songwriting wise, it was like I always deemed it as my greatest work. But like, it wasn't mixed and it wasn't finished, and time passed and it kind of got buried, and it was always this like gnawing, aching, like tragedy to me that we never finished it. And like, me and Mike would always talk about it, like, over the years, we need to get this finished. So like, yeah, like when I started making music with a DAW in like 2018 or whatever it was, like halfway in, like probably around O Discordia, I started to realise that I was like gaining the technical capabilities to start considering remaking Monster Island and the Satan of Fire as a Winterquilt album. And like, obviously back in the day it was guitar based compositions over programmed drums, so I was starting to like realise that I was going to be able to make it in MIDI, because like Winterquilt's a MIDI metal project at this point in its career, you know, at this point in its incarnation.
I thought you were a vaporwave act.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's so confusing. But
I
like,
think it is actually like incredibly vaporwave. This like plundering your past kind of idea, right? Like,
exactly,
like digging through the archives and resurrecting like a ghost, right?
Yeah,
that's the most vaporwave thing about it.
All of the Winterquilt stuff has been taking songs that I wrote a long time ago and reworking them into like a new form. Like, but the thing is though, like with Old Discordia and with him, it was like elements of old songs incorporated into elements of new songs and do like mixed and mashed. Whereas Monster Island, The State and the Fire is like a pretty faithful recreation from start to finish. Obviously, there's like new compositions and there's like new parts that weren't in the originals, but like in terms of the flow of the album, the track list, and just the songs in general, it's kind of like a MIDI reimagining with like lots of extra genres thrown in, because the original was like just, you know, Anal Nathrak worship. We obviously cover a track by Anal Nathrak as the 5th song on the album, and like the original incarnation was all about like it was Anal Nathrak worship, which is like a 2-piece grindcore black metal project from Birmingham that I was obsessed with in 2007 when we first made the album, me and my mate Mike Vanderbilt. So yeah, it's been a mad, like, long process getting to this point, but like finally gonna release it after, what is it, like 18 years or something mad.
So how old were you when you're working on this first time round?
It's probably like 2007. Let's say 2005 when we began working on it. I was born in 85, so 95. I was like 21, 22. I'm 36 now.
That's cool. I mean, because it's a pretty cool combination, right? Like, so you've got these kind of ideas from your youth, and then like your kind of wisdom and technical knowledge to kind of refine them. But I think it's nice. It's like sort of having your cake and eating it.
Yeah, exactly.
Best of both.
Exactly. It was like
like that bread, right? 50-50, best of both.
Best of both, yeah. Like as I was starting to incorporate more metal into my vaporwave project, which Winterquilt did start off as like a MIDI vaporwave project. There was never any like idea of bringing metal into the equation, and then it just started happening, over time, and then each release kind of got more elements of metal. But like this new album's so much heavier. It's not like it's you know, you can blend black metal into all kinds of different genres, vaporwave, shoegaze, like fucking post-punk. You can blend black metal into that stuff like really easily. But like this new album, it's like it's heavy. It's not black metal doesn't have to be heavy. It's more about atmosphere, and so like this album is more about like brutality. You know what I mean? And like I didn't have the technical abilities to achieve that like before kind of the end of all Discordia, and I started to see a path as to how I would actually recreate this in MIDI, because I can't play the guitar that well anymore. I was well better back then, but it's like you've got to be an athlete to play extreme metal guitar. It's exhausting. I'm too tired for that shit these days. Like so.
Well, I can't wait to see how it's received, right? Because I think like metal guys, I wrote in this blog post that like most vaporwave people are kind of like emigres from like various music scenes, of which metal is like makes up a big part. Like there's a bunch of people in our world who are like have kind of left metal scenes for various reasons, or even like still active in metal scenes. Like I know you, the guy from Geometric Lullaby, right, has an active metal.
Yeah, he's
project,
in.
Right? I don't know if
Dennis
that's public knowledge or not.
Yeah, no, he's the guitarist. He's the frontman of Ghostbath. Yeah, like a black metal band from the US. But yeah, I mean, nobody starts with vaporwave, do they? Like to get to vaporwave,
maybe
you've
some
got
kids,
to have been
maybe little ones.
Yeah, you've been interested in unusual and underground music for quite a while to found vaporwave, and whether that's been coming from like the kind of more obscure elements of electronic music, or whether you've come from some kind of metal background, like it's very common. Like I did a survey on Twitter recently, and it was like 65% of people said they were into extreme metal before vaporwave. But yeah, it's very, very common in the scene. Like,
cool. Yeah, not only that, like a lot of the people who making this music or listening to this music have a background in metal. Like quite a lot of them, like will be making vaporwave because you know they found like working within like genres like metal, or like being a classical composer or a jazzer, like they found those boundaries too constricting. So like, you know, vaporwave is like the place where they can really push at the walls.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
And I think like this is about as far as I've seen those walls push. So it's going to be fascinating to see how people react to. I think it's such a statement drop coming out on Halloween. I think people are gonna really like it. There will be a few people who are like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah.
I'd imagine you're comfortable with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I absolutely like love the fact that like the randomness. Like I think it's a common thread in my music is like my music is very instinctual, and like my instinct tends to be like the unusual combination of like musical elements. All my favorite black metal has always been the weird stuff that incorporates other elements, and all my favorite anything is the same. Like I'm into fusions of like unlikely components, and to go further than that, the idea that this album is coming out on My Pet Flamingo makes me laugh so much. Like I think it's absolutely fucking hilarious, because it's just the fact that there's an Alan Nathrak cover on My Pet Flamingo is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I love the idea.
That's in
like,
keeping with the spirit of Winterquilt, right? Like you've done like Telepath covers and stuff before. Like it's like a nice little formula for a Winterquilt record, right? Like it finishes with a cover. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I've got like black metal people, because I released the Discordia LP came out on a metal label, so I've like through kind of connecting with people who know me from the Repost record LP of Discordia, I've got them onto like Telepath and vaporwave in general through like talking to them about that cover.
What you need to do now is you need to release like the most vaporwave record imaginable on a metal label. Yeah. That's what needs to happen next.
Well, honestly, like that's why the whole vaporwave black metal thing came up, because like vaporwave, and especially the vaporwave of Telepath, it's so black metal in a way that like a lot of people don't see. But if you're into the ambient, like depressive forms of black metal, like vaporwave is like, it's so haunting and ambient and like dark, like a lot of telepaths, like really moody and like spooky. And yeah, I've got loads of people anyway who've like reached out to me from the Repost Records Otis Cody LP. I've got loads of them into black metal, into vaporwave, and like hopefully someone will like Google an on that track that is like into future funk when this comes out on My Pet Flamingo.
That's right. I think we should give the people a taste of what this record sounds like. So the track you want us to play is the first one, right? Here There Be Monsters.
Yeah.
To my ears, like this is like a really good summation of the record as a whole, right? Because it's got this like really extreme metal stuff, video game stuff. It's got like a mixture of real guitars, right, as well as like really, really like blatantly MIDI sounds.
No,
is that correct? Like, there's real guitars on there. It's all programmed.
No real instruments. At all.
Oh man, well you did some very, very convincing guitar programming.
Oh, nice one. Yeah.
Would have been easier to play, wouldn't it?
Well, now like I just, you know, with the exception of the unplugged thingy that I did, like I just think that I like this project being like pure MIDI, and it's not like I'm trying to recreate the sound of a guitar, but like it's sitting in the same sonic space. But yeah, it was important for me to like not include any real instruments other than the human voice in this album. Like, so I do all the singing, cool. And me mate Chris Butterworth from a host of like UK extreme metal bands is the guy who does extreme metal vocals on all of the tracks bar track 2, which is the original vocalist that we had for Uncle Ghost that we met through MySpace. You're on MySpace from Thom from MySpace, aren't you? So you remember those days, like, but yeah, like Starak from France was the original vocalist, and he only ended up doing vocals for one track, which was the only track on the Uncle Ghost demo that had vocals. So we've managed to keep his vocals for track 2 and the rest of Chris. But yeah, this is the opening track to the album. Yeah,
enjoy. early on in the production process, I remember seeing a screenshot of your like Fruity Loops session, and like one of the channels was like named Eminem bit or something.
Yeah.
Is that in this? Because there's like some kind of there's like some harpsichordy stuff, right? Which is like pure Slim Shady.
You've absolutely nailed it. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And,
man, I'm on.
No, you're correct. But I was when we were talking about what song I was going to play on the podcast, I was in work and I was listening through that track, trying to like figure out at what point in the song that was, because it's a long song in there. And like a student knocked on the door, and he come in, and I told him about this like hip hop breakdown within this like, extreme MIDI metal song that I was picking for the podcast, and he said it sounds like Eminem, and it does, doesn't it? It sounds like the Marshall Mathers EP, like that plump, plucky sound. But,
it's a sort of harpsichord sound. Digital harpsichord.
But yeah, I remember you commented on that when I posted it on Twitter, and you're right. Yeah, that is exactly the part. That's the Eminem part.
Oh man, I'm glad my ears are working.
Yeah, he's right. 10
That's
points.
really cool. I mean, that's like a bit of a theme of the record, right? Not like Eminem references, but like just these kind of like genre switch ups, right? Like it's common to both these records that we've been talking about, right? Like the Eventual Infinity record as well. But like there's some things that like caught my ears. Like I've written for Ascend the Slippery Way, which is track 2.
Oh yeah.
I've written fun 12/8 pirate section. There's like a Pirates of the Caribbean bit that comes in. That's really cool. And that's like followed up by some serious donk.
Yeah. Well, can I tell you actually before we move on? Like, do you know with Ascend the Slippery Way, right? So my mate Michael Van der Waal, who I mentioned before, who programmed the original drums for the demo, and I should say at this point actually, all of the drums from this album, I've taken the MIDI from his original programmed drums, and a lot of it's the same. A lot of it's exactly the same. Some sounds changed. Some of it's like redone to match the evolved compositions. And some of it's completely brand new to like, for parts that weren't in the originals at all. But yeah, Ascend the Slippery Way, the lyrics of that came from an instruction manual that Mike's dad got. He ordered like a DIY shower construction unit, and it was from some dodgy website, like, so it turned up.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, and the instructions were like the worst translated Chinese to English like instructions you've ever seen in your life, and all of the lyrics in Ascend the Slippery Way are taken from that. Like they're generally like pretty long sentences as well. Like I've not just like taken words from it. I've included like full sentences from the instructions as lyrics in the song, and like he managed to do it. Like he constructed the shower, which I do not know how he was able to do that, like, because it was total gibberish, but that's where the lyrics
riddles.
Yeah, like I mean you can hear at the beginning of the song there's a cappella part of the vocal, and you can hear what I'm saying. It's like total gibberish, so imagine trying to use them as instructions, you know.
Those vocals are fantastic. Like, forgive me, like, because my metal references are so basic, but like on these 2 tracks, on Here There Be Monsters and Ascend the Slippery Way, like the a cappella stuff at the start of track 2, like it really reminded me of System of a Down. How sort of wacky the lyrics are, and you know, these kind of like funny harmonic minor kind of harmonies and stuff. You know, it's like unashamedly out there.
Yeah, but
like
that wasn't on purpose, but you're definitely right. And like, for instance, on the end of The Weiss, track 3, there's that whole outro section. That is like essentially the vocals are the chorus vocals that happen 2 times earlier in the track, and it's just that reversed over the new like inverted commas guitar part. And it's weird that it worked in general, but even weirder that it sounds like almost exactly like Serge Tankian from System of a Down.
Yeah.
It's weird because like loads of the vocals before that kind of do as well. Like again, wasn't a conscious decision. I do love System of a Down, but it wasn't like
cool. I'm glad I didn't put my foot in it then.
I've got the lyrics to "Send the Slippery Way" up. I was just reading through them when you were just talking.
Oh, go on, yeah.
Can I just read the first?
Do a dramatic reading.
That'd be
Can I
so
just read?
funny if you did.
Do you want me to read the whole track? I was going to read the first 3 lines, but I can read.
Yeah,
the track.
give us a blast.
Read as much as you want, yeah.
Okay.
Perpendicularity falling away. Insert the both ends of the slippery way. Dismantling the place that sticks to the inside. Oh my gosh. Please carry on, man. The seamy side faces, magnetic stripe. Inflection to meet in the bore. Wrap the sides to use from offend. Adjust the good position.
I mean, I feel like I've like definitely received something in the mail before where you pull out the instructions and they read kind of similar sort of thing.
It's like baby shit, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah.
Like any baby stuff you buy from the internet. It's like it's so critical that you assemble this thing right as well for like the safety of your child.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's in this sort of ancient like Chinese riddles that you have to solve.
And it's by brands like Ujoyvi or something.
Yeah.
The brands are always some weird thing. Yeah, like a Joyvi or
Exactly.
Bollywood. It's like, what?
One of the like budget musical instrument brands, like these sort of Chinese copies, is called Donna, which I really like. It. They've kind of come from nowhere, and they do these like shameless clones of. They're like a Behringer clone company. Like not. They're cloning Behringer stuff like it's one rung down the ladder. Yeah, they're called Donna. So
I call that the reindeer.
Donna Lens, yeah, of course.
The reindeer company.
The reindeer company. Oh.
Yeah, on Donner.
I don't get that.
On Donner on Blitzen.
Oh,
the name of.
Right.
I'd never thought of it like that.
Obscure.
Hayden, this is the Halloween episode. It's not the Christmas episode. You're confusing us.
Okay, I'll keep
it
off
Christmas.
Well, we'll need to do a Christmas episode. Actually, Hayden, I don't know if you're getting involved, and I don't know if we're realistically going to be able to get involved, like time-wise. But I know Pacific Plaza are putting together one of those Christmas compilations. Ooh. So yeah, maybe we'll need to do a Christmas show with some of the acts on that.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence on that one.
Yeah, I'd like to participate, but it's
me too.
We should really be making our album, Jay, shouldn't we, rather than Christmas music. Also, my taste in Christmas music is appalling. I've talked about this before, but I'd just be like blasting away on that Paul McCartney CS80 patch, the like stupid, wonderful Christmas time. So.
And I won't be stopping you, so.
Oh, man, you need to stop me. Anyway, Chris, you said track 3 is called The Weiss, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, what is that? I was going with Wicker in my head.
Well, I'm glad that you brought this up because this is quite a funny story as well. So the Weiss, it's an old English word for witch, essentially. So that's what the song's about. Yeah. But the original incarnation of it in its Uncle Ghost past, it was called the Noid. And do you know what the Noid is?
No.
Okay, so the Noid, I think it was some kind of you'll know, Payton. You know what the Noid is, don't you?
Yeah, wasn't it some kind of character or something?
Yeah.
From a show?
So it wasn't a show. It was, kind of was for me, but what a Noid was, it was a marketing scheme by, was it like Subway or, does that ring a bell, Payton?
Man, I don't know. I can kind of picture the Noid.
He's a jug.
He's
like a big jug of Kool-Aid or something, isn't he, as you'd say?
What? Okay, I don't know this now.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. But
is that the Noid?
He's got like...
the Noid, he was like part of an advert. He was part of an advert for like...
Domino's,
yeah, there you go. Does he look like a jug, or did I just make that up?
No, he's got like rabbit ears.
Okay, yeah.
And like a mask. Am I remembering that right?
He's like
yeah,
red.
it's like a mask that's like the ears are part of the mask.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what it was, right? Like this is around 2006, and me and my mate Mike and Gilly and his brother James, we were sitting around in his stoned to the gills, and we were watching Family Guy, and there was a bit in Family Guy where like the Noid burst through a wall or something like that, but we didn't have the cultural reference of the Noid. We didn't know what it was, so for us it was just like a dead random thing that made us all laugh because we were blitzed, and we decided to call that track the Noid. But like in this incarnation of its release, I realised that like the Noid isn't random. Like for us, the Noid was like all random, and then we found out it was from Subway or whatever. But like, you know, being part of the vaporwave scene, you guys will know this, Jay and Tom. Like, most of your audience American, so they're gonna all get the reference of the Noid, and it's just gonna be like a little bit too random. I know the track before that's about like DIY shower construction, but like it's a bit weird calling it the Noid. So me mate Gilly had like a poem called The Weiss, and I listened to the song, and I worked out that like the poem was really like it fitted with the music, so we changed it up like and called it The Weiss instead, because you know, a strange reference
there's a funny sample at the beginning, right? It says like what is this?
Yeah.
It's like that's a nice kind of.
Do you know what that's from?
Like question to be asked about the whole album. No, go on.
Well, that it's funny you say that, because like I really like the fact that that sample serves as a point where like you had like two mad tracks that come before it, and it's like a little respite where the narration of the album was kind of like wondering, like questioning what the fuck's going on. But actually, it's from Resident Evil 1, the PlayStation 1 version.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like loads of people will get onto that sample, like. But obviously, my name's Chris too, so it's kind of an in joke, like. But
it says something about Chris's blood, doesn't it?
Yeah, I hope it's not Chris's blood. But there's like a couple of little video game samples throughout the album. There's Mortal Kombat samples on that same track, actually. Finish Him. Oh no, that's on Ascend the Slippery Way.
See, this is a vaporwave record. This is undisputably a vaporwave record.
Yeah, exactly. It's got two PlayStation 1 samples, so basically vaporwave, yeah.
That's it.
Tick.
Great.
Yeah. You make a convincing argument.
Yeah, there you go.
I rest my case. Chris, is there anything more that you'd like to kind of tell us about the record? Like any sort of nuggets, anything that will help, like a sort of a scared listener through their first listen to the record? Like, is there anything that kind of illuminates listening to the album? Anything you can tell us?
There probably is, like, but I've had a few beers at this point and I can't quite think. But like essentially, it's just like we were talking before about like the vaporwave scene. Like for me, this is of all the stuff I've released, this is my like album that like is most just about like making the music that feels natural to you. Like it's all over the place, and there's so many different genres thrown in, and it's like on a label that technically doesn't fit, but it's like, there should be no rules to music, is what I'm trying to say. And like, yeah, I've got no idea what my point is there, like, but it's just
a good point.
Yeah, it's just.
No, I think it is a good point, because I think there's this whole argument that's raging. It's like saying you need to make music that's very like clearly and unambiguously in a genre. Like I'm sure we all enjoy listening to music which is like really beautiful examples of a genre, but like we've all got distinct personalities, and like expressing that personality through like insane kind of genre hybrids, if that's a natural thing for you to do, like why are other people telling you not to do it?
Exactly.
It's crazy. Like it'd be like denying you the right to like proper self-expression.
Well, going back to what you said about like you noticed that there was a track that was named Eminem a while back when I was like posting little snippets and stuff. I remember you saying something on Twitter saying like about don't name tracks like the taiko part or the you know what I mean, like and like obviously I've gone against that with the Eminem thing, but like what I'm trying to say is I agree with that. Like don't worry about what other people have done, don't worry about like what's socially acceptable within like the genre you're working with. Just make some mad music, and like often the most unexpected elements are the bits that like elevate something to like be interesting, you know what I mean? And like people get so worked up about like genre and scene and stuff, like, and just make some funny stuff like.
Yeah, I think my point, when I was saying that, I think it was like if you give your music like a really generic working title, like you're in danger of making music that sounds exactly like someone else, or like, you know, it sounds like a kind of royalty-free version of something that's better. You know, like a kind of sound-alike thing. You know, it's just, you know, you call your thing like White Stripes type beat. Yeah. It's like, okay, great. Like that's not going to sound very good, is it?
No.
Like,
I'm going to make a song called White Stripes type beat now. It's going to be sick.
Can we put it?
Yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to be as weird as you can, like, these days. Everything's been done, so just be weird, be yourself, and be weird with it. Like, and,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like new genres in themselves are kind of hybrids of existing things, aren't they? Like it's just like it kind of coalesces around like a group of people who are doing similar things at the same time. But like, you know, nothing appears in a vacuum. And like, if making sort of hybrid music is the most natural thing in the world to you, then you should do it, right? You shouldn't worry too much about what other people have to say.
100%.
Yeah,
fully agree.
And when I heard your album, Chris, it was like, this is you. It just sounded like you. It's, you know, it's funny, it's clever. It's all sorts of different things that you love that are just smashed together, and it just feels like this album is you.
Well, thank you very much for that, Peyton. And like, I agree, like, you know, funny is definitely a big point. That's why I love Old Nick so much. Like, I know you've got... You're into a bit of Old Nick yourself, Peyton, and like it's so exactly, and like comedy is so like really done well in metal, but like it's definitely the funniest kind of music, metal. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous, like, and
but it's also like your album is just so heavy and brutal at the same time. It's such an interesting combination. It's like, how do you make the humor come through? Like, that's why it's so clever. It's just so cool because, you know, when I was listening to it, I just kind of got it. It's like I got the parts that were funny, I got the ones that were more serious, but it all kind of has a tinge to, you know, not taking itself too seriously, which is really hard to do in music.
Thank you.
Good job on that.
Thank you very much. And like, you know how much I love your album, and we should definitely talk about this before we go. Like, I 100% called that our album was going to come out at the same time, didn't I?
Yeah.
Like, me and Peyton have been working on these albums for about... Obviously, my album was in the works since 2007, but I started remaking it as a Winterquilt album in... What was it, lad? Was it 2020? Yes, it was 2020. Yeah. And that was around the same time Peyton started working on his album, and there was nothing to suggest that our albums would come out at the same time. But like, we're close, like, so we talk all the time, and we're like sharing each other whips and that. And I've been saying for about 2 years now our album is going to come out at the same time, and then there was a period where there was nothing to suggest that was like going to be the case, and then it all came together. Like, Peyton told me about him, like, I told him about like having like releasing on My Pet Flamingo, and he ended up reaching out to Jay, and here we are. Like, within what is it like a week apart? Our albums are coming out.
A few days.
3 days, isn't it? 3 days apart. 3 days apart.
So,
it's very
It's a nice sort of cosmic coincidence.
Under normal circumstances,
these records, like, superficially, they got very little to do with each other, right? But there's actually like there's some really nice threads that bind them, right?
I think the main things these two albums got to do with each other is, like, other than the kind of like darker tone, like, I think this is probably safe to say that this is your darkest album, in it, Peyton.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But also I think it's our best albums, to be fair. Like, it's our kind of you know, best achievements, best attempts at this point, like, and yeah.
they're also both sort of heavily exploring this genre bending, genre smudging sort of theme. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's another thing that kind of pairs them up a little bit. You're both kind of experimenting with different, like basically like what we've been talking about today.
Yeah,
it was meant to be.
It's not fashionable these days to spend loads of time on a record. Like I know, like Daniel Ek from Spotify was saying that like the old-fashioned sort of year or two between sort of album release cycles is way too long.
He would say that.
You need to just bang tunes out.
Yeah,
which is funny because I was thinking about how this album that I did, it is not playlist friendly at all because all the songs blend into each other. So like when the tracks cut, it's like at these kind of, it's a time where it transitions into the next song. So, the two singles...
You've made like a streaming friendly single versions, haven't you? Like, because it's actually like, I know it's sort of designed not to be like an algorithm record, but like the singles have been cropping up in my Discover Weekly or Release Radar or whatever, and it like it sounds fantastic in there. Like probably because it's like you didn't just bang it out in a day, right? Like you've actually worked on this and put a lot of yourself into it, and I think it shows.
Yeah, the project, I think some of the early stuff from this album was October 2020 is when I started it, like right at the beginning of October 2020. So it has been 2 years in the making. Yeah. So it's really surreal. And I do want to say thank you to Chris and to Jay, for Chris, we talked so much throughout the whole process of this, and it's been crazy watching our songs evolve. And then also, Jay and TimeSlave, just, thanks so much for believing in me and this project and helping bring it to life. It's really kind of a weird coincidence that they're being released on, sister labels on the same weekend, of, one of the spookiest weekends of the year. It's just all too perfect. So I just want to say thank you. And then also, thank you, Thom, for bringing me on the podcast too. It's been really cool talking through all this.
Yeah, it's been really nice to like. Obviously, I was speaking to Jay loads on WhatsApp, hassling him as his pregnant girlfriend struggles through life, and I've been like messaging him at 4 a.m. because I had some idea about the colour of the shell, like. But yeah, so thank you loads for that. Like, I've never had such a positive experience working with the label. I've never had a negative experience working with the label, but like, I know I can be a lot when it comes to like releasing music because I've got like a very particular vision for my stuff. But Jay, you've been fantastic in putting up with me. Like, I really appreciate it. And Thom, it's been fantastic to like finally speak. We've sent the odd WhatsApp message to each other, but this has been a really fun podcast. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, mate, for the first time.
You sent me a good one about the price of sandwiches in London. I think. You were horrified.
Hey, listen, it wasn't even the price. The maddest thing was I ordered a bacon butty and he asked me if I wanted a duck egg on it. It's like, fucking hell, lad. Duck egg, you messing?
That's far out.
Jesus Christ.
I don't think that's not a normal occurrence. But it blew your mind, didn't it? Wasn't it fantastic?
No, I didn't get the duck egg. I don't want a duck egg on me bacon butty, mate.
Oh,
okay. But it was absolutely delicious. But like, you can keep the duck egg.
How much was it?
Keep those Thames eggs.
How much was it for the sandwich?
It was like $7.50. $7.50.
Yeah, no.
I know.
I was going to guess that. Yeah, everything's $7.50 these days.
It was in Wandsworth.
$7.50.
Wandsworth.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wandsworth sounds absolutely fantastic in a Scouse accent. I don't think I've never heard that before. It's so good.
Yeah, it's better than saying chicken. Say Wandsworth. Yeah. Wandsworth.
I love your American accent that you do, Chris. I mean, it's way better than my Scouser attempt.
Oh, hey, Tony, that one,
and just also just like
a specific
one.
one.
Oh yeah,
no, I can only do it when it's like mafia accent.
Hey, dude, how are you? You do a really funny like.
Hey, dude.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's been so many like voice messages between us that I can't remember particularly doing that. But I remember doing like I think in the Doink Squad group chat that me and Payden in a group chat with Sierra Mist and Sage Hardware, and I remember he was all laughing at me East Coast American
Hey,
accent
Tony.
a while back, like, hey, Tony. But, yeah.
Oh, that's funny, boys. We should wrap it up so we can all get back to our sort of offspring.
Our miserable lives.
But no, it's not miserable at all. The weather's miserable, but like you know, like weather's miserable, but like it's the perfect weather for listening to these you know, like dark immersive records.
Is right.
Yeah,
you
thank
guys
you.
have timed it really well.
Thank you guys so
I don't know
much.
if there's any final thoughts, like any sort of exciting news on the horizon that's not these record releases, or you know, it's full focus on album promo now. Any sort of news on the horizon?
Yeah, no, I can chime in on that. Like, so I've got an EP out in January, which is actually the practical component of my dissertation. I've obviously just completed the audio production degree in December. So yeah, that'll be quite interesting. It's a bit of a... It's like kind of similar to the album, but less grandiose and less esoteric, and more like if the Venga Boys were a grindcore band. It's like loads of like Euro trash dance music mixed with like MIDI death metal. So
they started as a legit techno group. Have you heard like early Venga Boys tunes?
No.
They fucking slap.
I can imagine.
They were like legit techno DJs who they went corporate.
Oh, amazing! Well, I love the Venga
maybe
Boys.
we can link one. I think it's called the Venga beat. It goes get down to the Venga beat. It's a banger. It's so good.
You have to link us up in a bit.
Yeah, man. I want to hear.
Yeah.
He's right.
Yeah. And if you slow down their tunes and put like vinyl crackle on it, it sounds like Basic Channel. It sounds like sort of dub techno.
Oh, amazing!
But yeah, shout out the Venga Boys.
Yeah, shout out the Venga Boys.
What about you, Payton? Anything new other than the record?
Well, I'm all in on just getting this album out to as many ears as possible. I thought about taking a little bit of a break from music production and just focus on piano. I've been playing. I have a little, digital piano out in my living room that's been really nice to play, and I've just been working on my chops a little bit. So I think through the rest of 2020, I'm going to do that. But also, Sleep Pattern, the visualist, he's a good friend of mine here in Seattle, and we've been talking about it's time to do another show. We played one this summer with Groovy Kaiju and another local future funk DJ, and we're talking about doing another show either in January or February. So thinking about that, and then also as far as like the future of like what I want to do with this project, I don't know if I'm ready to start on a new album, but I do want to. I've been making just for fun kind of like ambient music and just playing around with ambient stuff. So I think I'm just going to go through a little bit of just experimental, explorative period where I just kind of figure out what's next. I went to Iceland for my birthday this summer, which is why I missed Electronicon 3, and I did a whole bunch of field recordings and took video and pictures, and I'm thinking of almost doing an album based on just that beautiful island.
Yeah. I was going to say you're going to blow up on like ambient social media.
That's
you're
what
going
I'm
to with these like top shot videos of like you playing synths with like nice sort of cactuses and kind of artfully placed pens on your desk. It's going to blow up.
More soft breakdowns.
Top down videos with lots of succulents. For sure.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I've been feeling kind of ambient lately, and I also don't want to get ahead of myself. But Chris, we gotta start doing some collab stuff middle of next year.
Do you know what? I was literally like trying to find a way in to remind you of that. Like, me and Payton have been talking for a long time about like making a split EP, like not a split EP, like a collaborative project of sorts. Like whether it be a collaborative EP or a series of singles, we're yet to fully like lock on to the final form. But we've spoke quite recently about like 2023 being the year that finally happens. Like, I'm on a hiatus from making music till the end of the year, finishing some commission work up, and then closing my commissions because I'm up the wall, and I'm looking forward to like getting back to writing. And like so hopefully in 2023 that'll be the year that me and Payton finally make that album, like whatever it turns out to be.
Nice. It's going to be a big year for all of us, I can tell.
I think so, yeah. Hopefully we'll meet up soon as well. Like, it might take a little bit longer with Payton, but with Jay and Thom, hopefully we'll get a chance to like meet up in real time in 2023.
For sure. I mean, so the next thing we've got is this London show.
Yeah.
And that going well. Like, hopefully it can be a format that we take on the road. Like,
yeah.
Jay and I have been working quite hard on the Donor Lens live show, and like getting it to be a format that travels well is like a big part of the thing.
It doesn't even have to travel, to be honest. It's just like at this point in time, I can't make it to London, but like because I've been a student for 2 years and I've only just started working again. But like hopefully by the time next summer comes along, I'd be 100% down for coming down to London to catch yous play live.
It's been so nice to talk to you guys.
Guys, really.
Yeah, thank you both for coming on. It's been wicked, finally, like kind of chatting with both of you, because obviously we've spoken online and stuff like that before, but it's always cool to like hear people's voices and be able to have like a proper chat and stuff like that. So and I just wanted to say as well, thank you both of you for like choosing to work with TimeSlave, choosing to work with My Pet Flamingo. Like, it's been an absolute pleasure to have both of you. I'm just fucking buzzing for these 2 albums to come out. I mean, you guys have both worked like so hard, and they've come together beautifully. And yeah, I can't wait for them to be unleashed on the world.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know me and Payton can both agree that it's been a pleasure to work with you, Jay, and thanks so much for having us on. I've really enjoyed this. Like, it's been boss. We should do it again soon. Like,
definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I already pretty much
enjoy your evenings / mornings.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah, Sam. Payton, have a good day. Love you guys. I'll speak to you soon.